The Sex Ed with Tim podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands.
You're listening to Sex Ed with Tim.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. I am your host, Tim, certified sex educator. I identify as a chaotic homosexual. And girl, is it hot in here or is this relationship suffocating me? Ugh.
Oh my god.
I don't know what else. What's like another good breakup line? Roses are red, violets are blue. Garbage is dumped, and so are you.
Oh my gosh. You got all the lines.
Have you had any sort of like funny breakup lines?
You always hear about like, oh, you dropped the ball and chain, type of thing, like dropping an anchor or the dead weight stuff. I'm just like, all the lines people say.
Yeah, ew, that's so weird and like ball and chain.
Yeah. I'm like, if you think of your wedding and your relationship like that, then you're already doomed.
As a prison, oh my god. So I was watching this
Right?
episode of MTV's How Far Is Tattoo Far? And then this girl was asking her boyfriend, like, I want you to put a ring on it. I want to get settled down. And the way she did it was that she got her boyfriend to get a tattoo of a literal ball and chain on his ankle and
No. Oh my
foot.
gosh. All right then. All right. He was committed.
Isn't that wild? Yeah. Yeah. But the cute thing is that the boyfriend tattooed on her arm the New York City skyline where she's from and the sentence, "Will you marry me?" Aww. But
Oh.
also like getting that tattooed.
But now that's a
I'm just like,
tattoo. Now that's a tattoo.
yeah. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. That's like the kiss
Boy
of
should have
death
just
when
bought
you
her a
like
ring. Should have
tattoo.
just bought her a ring.
Honestly, yeah. like like it doesn't even have to be those big expensive rings. Like
Right?
get me a ring that's made out of office supplies. That's cute.
Get her
Like
a ring pop,
a ring pop. That's so cute. Like I'll always see like it's a huge rock and I can always like lick it too.
Right. It's a big rock. You can lick it and it's a nice little treat.
Yeah, like it's got everything that you need. But we're not here to talk about getting into marriage anymore because we're here to talk about parting ways, breaking up amicably, and especially with the specific dynamic of like kinksters and kink relationships. And for those of you who are listening right now and you recognize that very beautiful voice on the other end of the mic, that is none other than Queen Anna. Queen Anna, Her Majesty. How are you?
Hello. Some of you might remember me as Queen Anna Algos, but I have changed my name to Queen Anna Blue because I am no longer with the House of Algos. So, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit today about relationship de escalation, separation, and how it can be a little bit complicated, especially when you mix romance and love with kink. So, it's very important that we talk about that because you always hear about, like, oh, I want to be collared, or I want to own someone, I want to get into a DS. Well, what happens when you have different goals or you change? And so it's important to talk about the positives and complications that come with that separation.
So, what are like some common examples of what leads to that separation? Because it just seems like such a fulfilling relationship to have kink and DS or and like have the romantic aspect of it. But I guess I'm more curious about the whole like parting ways of that because it's such a specific dynamic. So what leads up to like I don't know an irreconcilable difference, and how do we navigate those messy
Oh,
waters?
there's so many reasons why couples split. One, so I'm also a BDSM educator, and one of the things I see a lot with my clients and students is that you'll get people that say, "Hey, I'm poly," and they meet someone that's like, "Hey, I'm poly too," even though I just started. I think I'm poly, and then they'll get into a relationship, and then one person's like, "You know what? I'm not really poly," and so yeah, and then the jealousy just takes over. There's anger issues. There's resentment that the partner's hanging out with this partner. And so that's usually one of the things I see a lot where people just have poly problems, or you have someone that's a giant people pleaser, but they disguise it as, oh, I'm into service, and then they're
Oh,
not really taking care of their own needs and taking care of their own health umbrella, their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. And then they just kind of are just dying inside, then they have to get away. um Sometimes there's children involved. Right. Some people are just like, I don't want to seem weak, or I have to do this, or I committed to this, or I'm bound by our agreement of some sort, whether it was a contract, a ring, a collar,
oh,
a tattoo that says New
oh
York, will you
God.
marry me? um you know so there's just multiple reasons, and honestly, I love contracts, because I feel like a lot of relationships would be better and maybe not even start to begin with if people had a contract that spelled out, like, hey, this is how we communicate, this is how I act when I'm upset, this is how we are to flirt with other people or not flirt with other people, this is how we're going to practice poly, this is how we're going to practice monogamy. Because it just spells out everything. Some people think it's tedious, but I'm like, I love instructional manuals, that just be like, oh, okay, well, this is how I'm supposed to act. This is your expectations of me, this is your expectations of you, and this is how we're going to treat each other. And if we don't, let's go back to the contract and figure out what went wrong. Um, and contracts can be one page. Sometimes they're 10 pages. It just depends on your relationship.
Clauses. Oh my God.
And
Riders.
yeah, I'm a student teacher to the core. Like, I love, like, here's a PowerPoint, here's a contract, here's bullet points and notes. So,
That's so
you know,
cute. This is how I'm presenting our relationship in a 10-slide essay. Like,
it's like, here's my PowerPoint on
that's
how I'm a
so
slut.
clever. Here's my entire presentation on how I want you to fuck me,
Yeah,
the right positions, how to eat me out. I love those
exactly.
details. Those are so good.
None of this, like, oh, I wish they would touch me that
And they
way.
lay out
Did you show them
everything.
your sexy
Yeah.
PowerPoint? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you bring out your Barbie doll or your Ken doll and be like, touch me here, touch me there?
I love it.
Without you, like, you don't have to say anything. You can just be
Just
like,
point,
touch
just
me
point.
there, touch me. But yeah, but I want people listening to know that like this contract is not legally
Right.
binding in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Uh, like, people are
Right.
not property. So, this is this is just
Yes.
serves as a sort of guide that a couple, a throuple, or whatever can revisit should they lose their way in the relationship. And in your previous episode, Queen Anna, is like you talked about relationship agreements or relationship contracts. Besides pleasuring and uh, like how to handle disagreements, do you have in that contract a clause or a section on what kind of steps are to be taken should you have like an irreconcilable difference, like I don't know, you grow apart and then your goals change, you as a person have evolved, that's like this is not who I am anymore, and then we have to part ways. Do you have that outlined, or can we outline that on how to amicably break up?
Yeah, it's almost like having a little bit of a prenup in there where you can kind of talk about, yeah, it's like a kinky prenup where you can say, like, hey, do we need a break from the contract? Do we need a break from the relationship? You know, let's set a timeline to say, hey, let's regroup in a few days, a week, 2 weeks, how to terminate the contract. And let's say it depends on the relationship too. Like, is this a play partner, romantic partner, sexual partner? Is this your married partner? Do you have a DS, MS with this person? What are you breaking up? You know, are you living together? Are you long distance? So there's so many different ways to be in a situationship with someone. And so yeah, you have to figure out like, okay, how can we adjust? Can we adjust? And how are we going to separate assets like toys and clothing? And if you live together, all the household items, because it's just like, okay, you bought this together, who gets to keep it? If you bought this, do you leave it? Do you take it? You know, it's like a marriage. It is a marriage sometimes.
Hmm. But I feel like that part might actually be a prenup, and not just like a kinky prenup, but
Yeah.
like a prenup prenup, like the division of assets, especially. Yeah. But what about things like, I don't know, you're in a polyamorous relationship, and then two people in that polyamorous relationship, in that polycule, split. Like, is there some way that those people that have split can like divide the rest of the polycule amongst themselves, or is that bordering on like people are property now?
I feel that you shouldn't choose sides unless that's something you want to do, because I think we've all had those friends where they're dating someone where you're like, I don't really like them, but they make you happy, so we'll be around them. And then when they split, they're like, oh, I didn't like them anyway. Like, and so sometimes that happens, but it shouldn't be this whole like, okay, well, I'll take this partner, you take that partner, because yeah, like we've been saying, people aren't property, they aren't things. Even though we might role play, like things like that, but it's just like you shouldn't be splitting up people like that. Again, if someone likes you more, then you can't help that, and you're just like, okay, well, bye.
Awkwardly just retreat back into your shell and be like, no, bye.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is my preferred way to break up. Just slowly fade into the shadows and hope you forget me and just don't look at me ever again. Because I hate conflict and I hate confrontation, and I am a people pleaser until the day I die. The pains, it's painful. But I want to rewind a little bit, because the breaking up is like, the last resort, and breaking up is always difficult. Let's say we're in this relationship, and then we see ourselves in a conflict and some sort of confrontation. uh, is there a way to resolve that conflict without having to jump straight all the way to breaking up? No matter the irreconcilable difference, like, oh, I don't know, uh, choosing where to live, or whether one partner wants to start a family or and the other one doesn't. Like, can we find a happy middle there so that we don't have to break up what it is that we've built
Well,
together?
it's about people's schedules, family. You know, some person might be really connected to their family on this side of the world, or are they taking care of family members? In a divorce, let's say you have kids, you have to be within a certain range of those kids. And then sometimes you have to bring in a third party to be like, hey, let's talk to you. It could be like a therapist or a friend where you can say like, hey, here's the situation. We don't want to split up. Is there a place we can live or something that we can do where we're still together? Can we do long distance? Can we not do long distance? And breakups aren't fun, but sometimes they need to happen to take care of your health and to take and do self-love. And that's important to be like, this is going to hurt, but I have to do it for sanity and health reasons.
Now, don't there's no need to go into specific details, but are you okay to share exactly how you navigated that conversation with your ex?
I will say it was tough, but for me, it was about putting myself first. Because I will also say I don't regret the relationship, but it was what I think I needed and enjoyed when I first really wanted to experience the DS, and I thought I could be a submissive, and I realized that I can't be a submissive 24/7. That's just not me. And yay for people that can, but that wasn't the situation for me. And so for me it was, I have to love myself and say no. And it was tough. It was truly tough. But I am happy. I'm taking care of myself. I'm feeling calmer. I am traveling more. I'm seeing more clients and teaching across the nation. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, once you start to put yourself first before anyone else, that includes your significant other, and also, Queen Anna, you're like totally the opposite of submissive, just based on your appearance, because like you got your waist snatched, titties popping, you got a fucking necklace that has the Hitachi magic wand on it. I'm like, god damn, what do you mean submissive? What is this submissive nonsense? She's a dom top people. She's
Well,
truly
I love to
serving.
serve the community. I love helping my community, helping other people. And for me to be like, you know what, I have to work on taking care of me is tough. And I feel like that's a thing we struggle with every day, to be able to say no. I tell my students, you have to get the courage to say no to people. You can say yes all the time, like, oh yes, I want to do this. Yes, I want to do that. Yes, let's go to that party. But to be able to say like, no, I don't want to play with you. No, I don't want to play this, even though I told you yes. It's tough, and people are going to get upset. You're going to get upset with yourself. You're going to get embarrassed, but you're worth it. Your happiness is worth it. Your sanity, having less anxiety, sleeping is important. So take care of yourself. And as submissives, there is, you can be a submissive and still take care of yourself and still be happy in service to someone. But if you are a submissive and you're not happy and you aren't healthy, then your dom and you need to have these conversations, and something needs to be looked at to be like, okay, why is this submissive not happy? Is this too much? Are they, do they really want to do this? And it's important to know too that as kinksters, not everyone is made to be a submissive. Not everyone is made to be a dominant. You don't have to collar someone. You don't have to be collared. It's just like people don't have to get married to love one another or to live with someone. You can be partners and you don't have to put a ring on it.
Regardless of what Beyonce says, like if you like it, you should put a ring on it. Like, God
Yeah,
bless
yeah.
Beyonce, love her to bits, but like you don't have to commit to this structured relationship dynamic that we as a society have created for ourselves, because I think marriage is a sham. That's just me. It's patriarchal, it's gross, I don't want to get married ever. No, I'm kidding, I'm lonely, please somebody marry me. um,
And don't get me wrong, like I feel like
I'm gonna die
DS
alone.
and MS, whatever your situationship is, can be very beautiful. Can be very beautiful, loving the way people connect and serve each other. But I think that's the disconnect too, is that some dominants don't see how they're supposed to also serve the submissive. How it's a relationship. You're taking care of each other. You're holding each other up. How many times does the submissive do things behind the scene to help the dominant be the high power that they are or look like in the community? So we have to really appreciate our submissives, even though there's this whole thing of like, oh, they're lowly, they're property, like they're in the background. It's like, yeah, they're in the background, but they're working their asses off. And so there's this give and take where it's a back and forth, and it can be beautiful and it can work for some people, but you have to understand that how's your mental health, how's your emotional health, is it something you really want to do, are you doing this too much? And it's important to take breaks too. Like sometimes dominants don't want to be dominants 24/7, trying to tell you like, okay, you should go to the bathroom now, you should eat now, you should drink water now. Like, figure out what type of DS is best for you, because not every relationship looks the same.
Hmm. What does being submissive 24/7 look like? You like you can generalize it. Like well, you can speak on experience, what your clients have experienced. Like what is it like in just like take us for a walk in their shoes, and um, figuratively speaking, and because I've never been in a DSMS relationship, which is funny because I'm like I love to be used like a whole, uh, but wear me like a bracelet, like a ring, um, but yeah,
Nice.
I've never been in,
You're like, use me like a puppet.
yeah, exactly, like I'm yours, but I don't know what that would be like 24/7. So what is it like?
So it can vary. That's when you should sit down. So you know how we negotiate for scenes and when we're going to play with someone? You should sit down and negotiate with your partner too, and like, hey, so we've been playing for a bit now. I want to make it serious. Do you want to be my mommy, my daddy? You want to be, my sir, my miss, whatever you want to call it. And how can I serve you? How can I help your life be better? And then the dominant be like, okay, well, what do you expect from me? And so the submissive could say like, hey, well, I'm into helping clean your house. I can help you with work. Do you want me to wear certain things when we go out in public? What names can I call you? Basically, like, how can I help you? How do you want to play? Are we on the same playing field of things? I like to say when people are negotiating play, it's like cooking. So the top brings ingredients of skills, the submissive bottom brings ingredients of skills. You come together, see if you can make a meal. Can you make a scene with your ingredients? And if you can't, stop trying to make fetch happen. Because sometimes you can't make a meal.
It's
It's
never
not
gonna
going to
happen.
happen. So,
Oh
yeah.
my god. Yeah, that's true. Stop trying to force something that'll never happen. But like, I don't want him to leave me, Mom. He's good. He's got good dick. I'm never gonna be able to find dick like that again. What do I do?
Well, if you really want to stay, it's like, all right, can y'all go to therapy? Can you work it out in therapy? Is this healthy for you? Or maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship and just be in a sexual relationship where it's just sex. And but then like for some people, they still need to separate themselves from this person because they're so emotionally tied, and they might still try to like make it work. Like, oh, we had a good time last night. It's like, yeah, in bed, outside of bed, we're yelling at each other. So you just have to learn to say no. And it's like Is there a book out there called Say No to Others, Say Yes to Yourself? Because I feel like we need that book in the community.
Maybe you should write that book. Truly, get author that
Because
book now.
yeah,
Honestly,
like coin it, copyright.
I feel that. I feel that we're so more we easily lean towards being the people pleaser because we want other people to feel good about them, and like we want them to know that like uh I'm a good person. I promise. Like I would never do anything to hurt you. And I feel like could that be a red flag in staying in a relationship that no longer serves us? And if that is a red flag, what are some other red flags that are keeping us in these kinds of unfulfilling relationships?
Yeah, that's it's kind of, we touched on a little bit with the whole like people pleasers that just want to make others happy, taking care of others, driving themselves ragged, and disguising it as like, oh, it's service. Oh, I'm a good submissive. I'm a good slave. I'm a good property. I'm doing this for my owner, for my dominant. And it's like, okay, you haven't slept, you're having anxiety, you're shaking, you look hungry. Are you getting your needs met? And are you sexually gratified if you're into sexual activities? And if you're just like, well, we haven't had sex in like 6 months, but it's okay. They're busy. It's like that's you're not getting taken care of. You're not a slave anymore. You're a maid. Um, and that's something that people don't want to recognize is, are you really this person submissive is a beautiful word, because if you're somebody submissive, you are basically a part of them. You are helping them be a dominant. You're giving them, you're someone that they get to play with, connect with, share these deep moments with. And you helping taking care of them, their house maybe, and their toys. So you are just someone special in their heart. It's a deep relationship, a connection that a lot of people don't get to experience or understand. And if they are not taking care of you and making sure that you are happy and fulfilled in certain ways of that, especially that you mentioned when you first got together, then again, like I said, you're not a submissive, you're a maid. You got a maid, and you're not even getting paid for it.
Yeah, is how many times have we ever been in relationships where the other guy is just uh, like they're projecting their mommy issues or their daddy
Yes, I was
issues
about to
onto
bring that
you.
up where
It's
you're
like,
just like, you're cooking for them, you're cleaning for them, and you're just like, wait a minute, why am I picking up your socks off the floor?
ew, why do I have to fold your underwear? Like this is, that's weird. That's gross. Some guys do that. It's just like,
But then it's also up to
no.
the submissive to recognize, like, hey, this is too much for me. This is not what I signed up for. Like, you have the freedom to leave. You do. You do. And because you had an agreement that, hey, they would treat you this way, you would treat them that way. And if they aren't treating you the way that you agreed to, bounce.
Bounce, peace, deuces. Like, yeah, you're not being treated this way, and you've tried everything. Like, I don't know, therapy. You've had those difficult conversations. You've done everything that you can, and it's still not going to meet your needs. So now is the time to bring up the one of the most difficult conversations, which is to break up. And um, I think it's important that we learn how to navigate breaking up in a way that's civil and that, like, yeah, I understand that emotions are gonna get heated and, like, you're gonna start like this whole MTV punching verbal war, like in Jersey Shore or whatever, and it's gonna happen. But like, we try to minimize that. So how then do we navigate, or at least even start to bring up and say, this isn't working for me without
Yeah,
with as
yeah.
minimal damage as
Well,
possible.
if you can, before you get to the, I want to break up, when you start feeling certain ways or things aren't happening that you don't like, try to bring it up and say, like, hey, I don't like this. This makes me feel a certain way. I was talking to one friend over the weekend, actually, where we were talking about how their dad would say stuff that was like mean to them, but they wouldn't tell their dad until weeks later that, that thing you said 3 weeks ago, I didn't like it. So once they started doing that, it got a little bit easier. So it went from I told him 3 weeks ago to like 2 weeks to like the next day to like in the moment where I'm just like, hey, Dad, can you not say that? And so sometimes we don't have the courage to say, hey, I don't like that until we're like bursting. How many of us hold things in where we're just like, oh, they said something, I didn't like it, but I'll let it pass. But then it's just like that I'm just going to pass it jar. It gets fuller and fuller and fuller until we're just like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. So we got to find the courage, even with our dominance, to say like, hey, can we talk? This made me feel a certain type of way. Can we look at ways we can make this situation better for the both of us? Because we want to continue this relationship and make sure that it's positive for both parties. But if it's a thing where you're just like, okay, I brought it up, or let's say something really big happened and you're just like, I am done. You crossed so many boundaries. I'm done. And that's when you just go, hey, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to break this off, and you're doing this for yourself. You're taking care of yourself, getting yourself out of a situation that is not productive for you, and know that it's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be tears, there's going to be anger, but one thing please don't do is slander people online. Please don't use FetLife and Twitter to start blasting people, because that's not cool. It's not cool. Like, don't do it. Yeah, yeah. And you might worry about like partners and friends are going to pick sides. Well, that's up to the partners and friends, whether they're going to pick sides. I like to tell people in relationships that are about to break up, it's like, well, are you a good person that your friend and partner wants to stay with you? Because if you are, they'll find a way to make it work. One thing poly people are good at is Google Calendar. So we will find a way to make time for people. It might be in a few months, but we'll make it work.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Yes!
What's up, all you sick fucking perverts? Don't you just love love? The Love Shop has everything you need to feel the love in the air, or in between your legs, wherever you want, really. They've got everything from vibrators, lubes, lingerie, and even full-sized sex dolls. Wow, I guess love really does come in all shapes and sizes. Visit loveshop.ca/sexedwithtim and use code SEXEDWithTim at checkout for 15% off the whole store. And the best part is that they ship all over Canada, US, and what? Ireland? To all my whores in Dublin, top of the morning to ya. That's loveshop.ca/sexedwithtim and checkout code SEXEDWithTim for 15% off the entire store. Now get to fucking. Do you like feeling sexy and looking sexy? Of course you do. Only my listeners are sexy as fuck. I have partnered with fetishwear designer Dale Kuda to bring you the hottest deals on custom jock straps, harnesses, hats, and more. Head over to dalekuda.com, that's DALEKUDA.com, and use code SEXEDWithTim at checkout for 25% off the entire store. Yeah, you heard me, 25% off. And cherry on top, free shipping. Oh my god. I have a few of the stuff that he has made for me, and Girl, I'm wearing it right now. I'm wearing like a little jock strap so that I could easily just like slip a little butt plug or dildo every now and then here and there. And I'm on the train. I'm just like, thank you, Dale. That's DaleCuda.com with the code SEXEDWithTim for 25% off your entire purchase with free shipping. With a deal like that, I swear I could come buckets, honey.
The show is about to begin.
Yes.
Yeah, so I understand that we can get angry and we can get sad. And do we as break-uppers or dumpers owe it to the dumpies? Like, do we owe them, I don't know, like a modicum of mercy or like, you know, cushioning the blow? Like, say they've crossed the line so many times after we've told them, no, you did this, you did that, and I just can't take it anymore. Boom. Like, are we righteous in our outrage, or do we still have to maintain composure? Do we owe it to them to be like, this is what you did to me, da, 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 da. Or can we just be like, no, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. 'Cause it seems so easy.
Some people are explosive. And that's why another thing, going back to the contracts, I like to have a clause in there about what is your anger style, because some people, they're the explosive, I'm getting it out now, I'm shouting. There's the I need to process,
Anger
I'll get back
style.
to you in a few hours or the next
Yeah.
day. Or there's the person that needs to process and be like, you know what? That wasn't even a thing to get angry about. You always hear about, oh, what's your love language? How do you love? How do you want gifts? But what's your anger style? Because how do you process bad news? How do you process when something upsets you? That's important to know too. I went on a date with a guy. We were dating for like a while and it was great. It was happy. And then we were driving somewhere and his road rage just came out. And I was like, I've never seen this part of you
Whoa.
before. and that was like, oh, that's part of your anger style. So you want to know how angry somebody gets? Have them drive you somewhere. Like, see how they drive.
Watch them switch from like really caring, like, you know, having real conversation, real heavy, deep thoughts, and then somebody doesn't use their blinker. Fuck you! But I really
Right?
do care about you so much. But
I'll
fuck
be
you!
like, get off the road, idiot. So I'm so excited for this date.
I love that. I love that. So, really shows the duality of man. Like, truly, we can switch that anger brain thing on and off, and it's so. Hey, I find it sexy in some cases, but I don't know about other people.
Yeah.
But
So when it
hey,
comes back to the whole like relationship thing, sometimes we can't. How do you phrase it? Sometimes you can't help how people feel, and you can't help if people hear you or not. And so you can tell this person, these are my reasons. These are my reasons. Okay, you didn't work on your end. I've been working on my end. You're still not listening. Okay. And there might be a point where you do blow up and you're just like, what the fuck? I can't take it anymore. I'm out. And then there's some times where you're just like, you have that defeated voice where you're just like, I'm done. Deuces.
later, or just
Yeah.
cold. Like, I'm fucking your dad. No, don't do what I did.
No, I had a friend get a divorce, and she was like, they were breaking up, and he cheated, and she goes, "Do you want to go to therapy?" And he's like, "No, I'm done." So
Wow.
sometimes you just have those situations where they're just like, "I'm done. Bye. No therapy."
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I'm cold and I'm miserable, but I could never treat someone that like that mean.
She was
Like,
ready
that-
to like forgive and everything and work on it. He was like, "You know what? I want to be here."
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think I would be like that if he truly deserved it. If the guy who dated me was like, I don't know, just a right winger, I'd be like, no, bye. No. No, I understand, and it just like this part of the conversation makes me want to empathize with my own emotions and a very young, naive Tim who was trying to handle all of this anger and all of this sadness after being dumped because he cheated on me. And, like, yeah, it's okay to feel angry and it's okay to feel sad, but at, at the end of the day, those emotions that we're feeling are up to us, and we have to regulate our own emotions, and the only thing that we can control is how we feel and how we treat the other person that's giving us this bad news. Like, never resort to violence or anything, but you know uh how you self-regulate is your responsibility, right? Like, okay, I'm feeling angry. This is how I'm gonna react, and you try the best that you can to really, like, navigate stormy waters at that point, because now it's like, oh shit, how, like, what's next for us then, right? Like, how do we break it to our friends and our family that we're doing this? Yeah, they're gonna pick sides, but, like, we have to constantly remind them that this is not a picking sides situation. This
Yep.
is just, part of life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are gonna do that. People are gonna like, don't pick sides, please. like
Yeah.
we're just having a disagreement.
Yep. And
And
another thing too is that humans are emotional sexual beings. You're gonna have anger, sadness, jealousy, anxiety, depression. Those aren't bad emotions. And I feel society is like, if you're not happy, something's wrong with you. And it's like, no, you're not always going to be smiling all the time. Stop telling people they need to smile. If I'm angry and I'm smiling, you need to move because I'm about to blow up.
that's
Like,
psychotic. Oh
like,
my god.
yeah,
Yeah,
feel your
those like
emotions.
those Instagram fortune cookie statements, like, smile for better days, and it's like, oh god, be miserable for once in your life. Fuck.
Yeah.
Shed a tear, god damn it.
Like, it's okay. Like, feel your stuff. And sometimes, yeah, it takes practice to kind of figure out, like, okay, how do I handle this emotion? How do I express this? How do I recognize this? That's another thing too with breakups is sometimes it takes a while for people to recognize that, wait, I'm not happy. Or why am I so tired? Oh, because I'm not fucking happy. I'm not taking care of myself. Or, you have polycules where someone gets jealous and the jealousy isn't bad. That just means one or a few of your needs are not getting met. And you're not talking about it with your partner to be like, hey, you went on a date with that person and you did that thing. Well, I want to do that thing too. So can we schedule a date? And then they're going to say like, okay. And you're like, that was it? Like, yeah.
Things are not as bad as we actually thought they were.
Yeah.
Now, what about, like, self-care routines? So, we're in the throes of a breakup. We've uh, done everything that we can, and it's time to part ways as civil as possible. And how do we take care of ourselves? What are some of the ways that we can ensure that this breakup goes as smoothly as possible without, with the least amount of casualties?
I think one thing people have to get used to in a breakup, it's like you don't have that buddy system like you had where you're just like, this is the person you went to events with all the time. This is the person you messaged all the time. So you kind of have to get out of that routine. But the other thing you develop is the routine of hanging out with other friends and other partners. And then you realize how you kind of put them on the back burner. And so you let go of one big relationship and started rebuilding all your other friendship relationships again and seeing them and pouring water back on those relationships.
Is it like, are we within reason to distance ourselves socially, physically, emotionally from the get-go? Like, are we okay to do that? Or does that just seem cold? Like, all right, once we've decided to break up, block, 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 block.
I feel for people that do the whole blocking thing with exes, if that's what you need to heal, do it. I have never blocked an ex. I'm like, if you want to block me, go ahead. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to heal and work through it. And yeah, it's about finding what works for you, finding the joy again in the hobbies that made you, that made you smile, doing activities again that you kind of replace with your person, because your person was the new activity in your life. And then you get back and be like, oh yeah, I used to do this. I used to like this.
Getting back with ourselves, getting back with our individual identity.
Yeah.
Because so often we lose ourselves in the coupleness, and I say that in air quotes, that like we forget who we are as individuals. So I think that would be such a crucial time for us to like remember who we are. Like as Mufasa once said, remember who you are.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I should send you this article. There's actually a psychology paper on submissives about how they lose themselves in a DS and how they kind of like lose their identity because they have trained themselves to be this servant to their dom. And how
I'd love to read that.
when that person breaks up, then they're all like, I don't know who I am anymore. You know, those people that are, what is it, where they have controlled orgasms where only the dominant has control, where that dominant has to say a word and the person comes, then they break up and they're like, I don't know how to come anymore because my dominant said the word and I would come. And they have to kind of untrain that and train themselves in another way on how to come.
Wow. I don't know if I could ever get to a place where I depend on someone else for my coming. Like, this is mine and mine alone. I can't give that power to someone else. Ugh.
And that's a
No,
lot of
no.
trust. That's a lot of trust too, to be like, hey, I want you to control my orgasms, when I come, how I come. And again, that's one of the beautiful parts of being a submissive, but it's also you want your dominant to use that ethically and as wonderfully as possible.
Yeah. Oh, I love everything that we've said because it's like there, we just like we breakups are messy. I get that, but it doesn't have to be as messy. We can totally split ways and be individuals again with the least amount of casualties, and like we can come out of this relationship unscathed. And I think that's something that we all need. Like just a way to get out of things that no longer serve us so that we can get back to making ourselves feel good. And that's nice. Aw,
Yeah.
I like that. I feel all warm and fuzzy again. My cold, gay, miserable heart is now feeling, and his heart grew 3 times that size.
I love it. I love it. The gay Grinch.
The gay Grinch, honestly, just a miserable old hag. Bah humbug. Just like rainbow fur all over me. Well, Queen Anna, thank you so much for everything that you've shared. But before we go, do you have time for a game?
Uh-oh. What you got, Tim?
All right, Queen Anna. So this segment of the show is called Naughty or Nice. And without context, I would like you to choose naughty or nice.
Oh, man. Okay, let's just go for it. Naughty.
Naughty. Okay, so good choice. This section for naughty is called red flags, where
Okay.
we're gonna go on some dates, and I'm gonna give you three qualities about this date, and you have to defend why this date is worth going on. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna totally just pull some cards randomly, and then we're just gonna see what they have. All right, one, two green flags, and one red flag. Uh, so the first date is that he loves you unconditionally, believes you're the most attractive person that they've ever seen, but is dead.
They're dead?
Yeah.
Tim. This is a real game?
Yeah, it's called red flags.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm going on a date with a dead person. Let's
But
see.
remember, they love you unconditionally and thinks you're the most attractive person ever.
And I have to talk about why this date is worth going on?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're dead. Um, well, I don't have to worry about them talking. So that's always a plus because I have a gag in my purse ready if you talk too much. Let's see, they love me. I guess they wrote it on their tombstone. Forever in love with Queen and the Blue. And then what was the second one? I'm the most beautiful person I've ever did see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I guess, they got good eyes. They can see me from underground.
They got a good view.
They got a good view.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
What would be a nice card?
I can tell you right now, this deck has more red flags than it has green flags.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like some of these cards are like men's rights activist, is super racist. Another one has like kisses their dog on the mouth.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, you're gonna have to defend those. And as far as the cards go, I think you got off easy with is dead.
Okay. He's dead.
And then the other half is the nice part where these are like genuinely wholesome questions, and I really like them. It's just to get to know you a little bit better. And the first question I have here is, let me see here. Oh, hold on. I don't like that. That's lame. Oh, here we go. This is nice. Which body part did you first explore intimately on your own?
My butt.
Really?
Yeah.
Your
I've always
butt.
been into like anal things. I had one group of friends, they call me like the anal whisperer because I love helping people understand how wonderful like anal can be.
Oh, I thought you literally like whisper into their butthole, like, "You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing so
Open
good.
up.
Open
You
wide.
can do this, sphincters. Sphincter 1, sphincter
Anal
2, go.
ASMR. Anal ASMR.
It's like, please don't whisper back, but
Imagine if it whispered back. The ever so light, silent, but deadly. Oh my God. Well, that was it for Naughty or Nice. And Queen Anna, thank you so much for bringing your smile, your intelligence, your humor to the show. Do you have any words of wisdom for our listeners?
hey people, it's okay to say no. It's okay to love yourself, even if you identify as a bottom, submissive, S-type, dominance. You're not always right. And no one's perfect. You're going to make mistakes. We're here in this community to have fun, connect with one another, practice on talking to each other, practice talking to yourself and realizing what you want and what you don't want. We're adults. We know a little bit about what we don't want and what we do want. So have fun. Remember, we're here for fun. Be safe and go get checkups every once in a while. Damn it. Don't be that nasty.
Period.
And yes. Period.
Yeah, truly, just get checked, please, and do what's good for you.
Like be a slut, but like get checked out every once in a while.
Yeah, be a healthy slut.
Yeah,
You
be
can
a healthy
slut.
hoe.
Yeah, be a healthy hoe. I get my tests done every 3 months because I watch out for myself and I want to get railed to the high heavens raw as a chicken breast.
Oh my gosh, I love you.
I love you too, Queen Anna. And for anyone else that loves you, where can people find you on the internet?
My website is my name, queenannablue.com. You can find me, I'm most active on Instagram and FetLife, so it's queen_Anna with one N _blue. So queen_Anna_blue on Instagram and FetLife.
Perfect. And I'm going to link all of that in the show notes. And for those of you that made it this far into this chaotic ass conversation, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. And I will see you at the next one. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. Sex Ed with Tim is created and produced by me, Tim Lagman. Music is Aces High by Kevin MacLeod. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GaySlutClown and at Sex Ed with Tim. You can also like and follow me on the Sex Ed with Tim Facebook page. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for all your support, you dirty little slut. Mwah.